Yeah, when we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to rock the whole town, about to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? About to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? Hey, sophisticated gentlemen, intelligent and tolerant. I'm bothering your politics and breaking down the collar tricks. We out of school, so classes out. Fuck all your pedigree, fuck all your clout. Lift everybody and bring them all out. This is the message we preaching about. This is rising tides and we gon' keep it rising. This is our horizon, that's we're modernizing. Fuck your harmonizing and apologetics. Fuck your bishops and your fed clerics. Stop the cursing, it's hereditary. When you're out here reversing the seminaries, and we're pulling our future from cemeteries. Out here clowning around like this shit that is dairy. Fuck all the bullshit, it's sedentary. Everything else is just secondary. Hating that shit is not necessary. It's too predatory, too reactionary. No imagination is an adversary. No congratulations, get you past the parry. This is how you stand up, this is how you carry. This is how you lay it, and it's how you bury. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to rock the whole town, about to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? About to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? Yeah.
Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. Listen, we're going to have a little brief, fun conversation. I have an incredibly busy day today. My oldest son has prom tonight. This is his senior prom, so like we're getting him ready for that and all that jazz. And then I had a few appointments this morning. Look at there, early for once. That is awesome. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good day, good night for those of you who may be overseas. Let me button my shirt up. I'm showing y'all a little bit too much chest. Y'all don't need to be looking at my breast this early in the morning. So let me get this shirt buttoned up. But no, we're going to have just a little fun conversation. It was a conversation that me and my son was having today when I picked him up from school to just kind of get him ready for some things. Just about conspiracy theories, oh, snap. Graduated in 2020 and didn't get an official prom. Oh man, I hate that. I think I went to like 2 or 3 proms. I was a big boy, but I was getting around, man. I was getting around. I did not enjoy any of them though. Like, I don't know why. But partly because I don't really like crowds. I love people, but I don't really like crowds. As you're coming in, of course, make sure to hit that like button, hit this subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and share this video with somebody who you may think just needs a little bit of break from the day and just wants to have a little fun conversation. And that's what this is about. This one won't be really deep. Wow, you're the reason I did. Okay, I got a platform that. Let me get over here on my chat. That's just beautiful, man. That's beautiful. You're the reason I did my research and I'm no longer a Jehovah's Witness. That is beautiful. I'm super proud of you. And as much as that make me feel good, I want to give you one small correction, my friend. You're the reason. I could have been the inspiration. I could have been the point of reference, but I don't want to take that credit from you. You did that hard work yourself, and I am super proud of you for doing that. Congratulations and journey well, my friend. That's awesome. I love hearing stuff like that. I love hearing that people are finding their own way. Because my content really isn't designed to change people's minds. It's designed to make it safer for people to change their own minds, if that makes sense. And that's just kind of like where I like to live with it. All right, so I got a question for y'all. Oh yeah, if you haven't voted for me in the Entrepreneur of Impact, what are you doing? I'm top 10 right now. Get out there and vote. Okay, but no. What are some conspiracy theories that you've believed? Do you remember the first time you had a conspiracy theory that you attached yourself to a conspiracy theory? Man, that's right. Yeah, that J-Dub stuff is not easy. My sister is a Jehovah's Witness, and she's not practicing or anything, but like, oh my goodness, like she's not gonna leave it. But it's very, very odd. Actually, when I was pastoring a Christian church, like there was a good percentage of my membership that were all former Jehovah's Witnesses, which many of them had experienced quite a bit of trauma. And so my church was a little bit refreshing for them. Not to say that my church didn't add some trauma too. Okay. So This conversation today is about conspiracy theories, and I don't plan on being here very long, but I did want to just talk about this with y'all because I love y'all so much, and it was a thought. And so the first question of the day is just like, hey, what are some conspiracy theories that you may have attached yourself to? What are some conspiracy theories that you might still have? Like, I think there's some still places in my mind where I make some leaps that may not necessarily be warranted. Um, Project Bluebeam was and is still my biggest conspiracy. Yes. Oh snap! I forgot about Project Bluebeam. And and that's another thing that kind of inspired this conversation because after talking about it with my son, I was like, you know what? I always talk about my friends for all of the conspiracy theories, that they have, like like the White House is being ran by lizard people, which nowadays it's kind of hard to refute that one, tongue in cheek, obviously. But but I was like, oh no, but I've had some myself, and I'm not necessarily saying that all of the conspiracy theories I've attached myself to were false. That's not necessarily what makes a conspiracy theory to me. It's not that it's not true. It's just that I actually don't have enough evidence to jump to that conclusion. And interestingly enough, when I actually started sitting with this, okay, like Durante, do you remember the first time you attached yourself to a conspiracy theory? I do remember the first time. And interestingly enough, it was right after I got saved. Right after I got saved. It was, I don't know, it's like what do they call it? The gateway drug. It's like becoming a Christian is the gateway drug into conspiracy theories. Like that's what it was for me, at least. Because the first conspiracy theory I attached myself to, I think I was in either seventh or eighth grade. This is shortly after I got saved and gave my life to the Lord Jesus Christ and got filled with the Holy Ghost with the evidence of speaking in tongues, shata, all that good stuff. And someone came to me and they were like, they were like, Procter and Gamble is a satanic company. And I was like, what? And then they showed me some little pictures and stuff. And it was like, see the 666s in there? Man, let me see it. Let me get in here. I see some stuff. And I'm gonna try to stay up with the chat because it's not Sunday. Can't say I've ever bought into a conspiracy theory. Conspiracy, yeah, too curious. And I had a bad habit of asking questions, unless you count X as the Antichrist slash demonic. Yeah, I definitely had a lot of the X's, such and such as the Antichrist. Actually, I was labeled the Antichrist at one church. It was very, very interesting. Do you take email? I have a sensitive question and I would like a deconstructed pastor to answer it. I absolutely do. My email is my first name, Darante, last name, Martin, at yahoo.com. That's my personal email. If you want to send it to my professional email, which may be a little easier to remember, that's dl@dldd.us. And I think, do I have that on a banner somewhere? I don't. I wish I had it on a banner. If I had it on a banner, I'd send you that. Dang it. Oh, maybe I do. I do. I do. I'm gonna put it on a banner. That's my personal, I mean, that's my professional email if you want to send there. If you can remember my personal email, first name, last name. Last name is Martin, not Lamar. Lamar is my middle name. But yeah, you can send it there. Thank you for asking. And yeah, and I know I talk a lot. Listen, y'all, I talk a lot of shit about people emailing me stuff. I don't mind emails about like questions that like are dealing with you. Just don't send me your email about your master plan to take over the world or your master plan of what's wrong with humanity. But no, but thank you so much for asking, and I'll be looking out for that email. It's hard to tell a conspiracy theory apart from truth nowadays because the government is already shady. They could be doing anything. Absolutely. And I think that's really why conspiracy theories are compelling, is because like they hinge on what we don't know. And that's something that I do encourage people to be very careful about. Christianity is a conspiracy theory. It comes out with the conspiracy that the world is against the God in the Bible and followers just because they're believers. It's a conspiracy of millions. It really is, which is why it's the perfect gateway drug. There's people talking about our president such as he is being the Antichrist. Hard to refute. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Like, actually, he might not be the Antichrist. He might be the Christ, because Christ to me, like, I think I'd prefer the Antichrist over the actual Christ. Oh man, but it's so true, right? Like this, it. The thing about conspiracy theories is that they always kind of major in an area that someone doesn't have the information. Like, there's no way to say it. Me and my drug dealer got in an argument last year, standing in my garage because he wanted to talk to me about. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Dr. Sabi. Some people pronounce it Sebi, but he allegedly cured, a whole bunch of diseases allegedly, and and so I've heard these things like for a very long time in my life, and he was telling me about it, and I was just like, "Hey, dude, I'm really not interested in this conversation." And he was getting really mad at me, and of course, the reason I wasn't interested in the conversation, I'm like, I don't have AIDS, I don't have cancer, I don't know what utility this information has to me. If you really believe that this dude can, heal cancer and AIDS, why aren't you telling somebody who has cancer and AIDS? Why are you trying to force this down my throat, man? I'm just trying to get some weed. I don't know what else is going on. Thank you, Elena. I appreciate you, and please let me know if I don't know how you would, but if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, because y'all these big glasses. That's Elena, Elaine. Yep, I don't want to fuck up your name. I don't want to do that. People fuck up my name all the time. I lost faith in the education system because I had teachers who would call me Devante or Delante. I even had somebody call me Dorito, and I'm like, there are no O's in my name. Like not man. Where are you getting the O's from? But no, all the sciences in the world have been against God in the Bible. Yes, no, and that was. See, I didn't even think about that one. That was a conspiracy, I believed. I did believe that, especially in my early days, that no, these scientists and these evolutionary biologists, they're just saying stuff because they hate God. And it's just like, wow, like that's really weird that I allowed myself to believe that. Every doctor who cures a disease is in the conspiracy. Oh man, y'all are on one today. Yeah, everything that makes them doubt their God is pretty much a part of the conspiracy. Yes. And so ancient ancient aliens. Okay. Now speaking of ancient aliens, and I think y'all have heard me tell this story. I'll tell you, this is going to be just loose today, right? I think I've heard me tell this story. It was an ancient aliens type of documentary that actually convinced me that I had a problem. And of course it was like, yeah, dude, I was watching a documentary, and I've shared this before, so if you're bored by it, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I was watching a documentary about mermaids, and it was pushing what they call the aquatic ape theory. And boy, did they have me in. Like 30 minutes in, I'm like, holy shit, there are mermaids, and the government is hiding them. And I don't know, like I had a fascination with mermaids ever since I was young. And that might have been because of the Daryl Hannah movie with Tom Hanks, Splash. That movie was awesome. Uh, Formal definition accepted amongst. Okay. Yeah, they're indoctrinated, rejected. Yeah, like seriously. And so I literally believe scholars of philosophy have repeatedly rejected. I don't even know what that is. I think ancient churchianity might just be having a conversation with themselves. I stopped taking religion and conspiracy theories seriously in '09 when MJ died. My dad's church tried to convince the congregation that MJ was an alien that wanted to abduct all the children. You see how there's always this connection where people who believe in conspiracy theories typically believe in Jesus. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Between a good conspiracy theory and folklore is simply something to believe in. Absolutely. I can agree there. Why do people who just joined the church act like they're the moral authority? It's very odd, right? People are narcissistic, we're old apes. We're old apes. But yeah, so I was watching this mermaid documentary, and I'm fully convinced that, yeah, the government is hiding it. And then when I get to the end of the documentary, the credits start rolling. And then I'm like, oh, this was fake. But I had to sit with the fact that I believed it just because I saw it. I believed it just because it was on television. I believed it just because someone was saying it. Nothing that had actually been shared could actually quantify as evidence in a world where I know that I'm watching a television show and anything can be fabricated on television. Just like now we have AI. And so like I sat like for the like 15 minutes silent after the credits started playing, like, dude, you believe bullshit. And it wasn't just about that documentary. That literally made me think like, oh snap, how many other things, how many other things do I believe just because somebody said so or just because I saw something, you know? And it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad because then a few months later I deconstructed and deconverted and left the faith because I realized like, yeah, bro, like it's you got to do better about checking information, right? You got to do better about checking the sources. You got to do better about asking the questions of how does this equal this? Let me go ahead and let me see what this is. Well, let me be good faith first. Do you accept the lack of belief definition? This is what we're going to do here. Ancient churchianity, is that your name? I'm sure you mean well, my friend, but I typically like when we're having conversations, I like people to stay on topic. So I'm gonna put you on timeout since you didn't know how to read the room. And you know, that's me doing that lovingly. That's not me being a jackass, that's me being a Durante ass. That's my own personal favorite variety, you know. Why would I be a jack when I can be a Durante? I love it. Okay. So yeah, like I got to the place where I realized, like, dude, I have a problem. Like it, like, and that's why I tell people, like, when you're going through the deconstruction phase, you can get to that place where you're like, oh man, they lied to me, they lied to me, they lied to me, and I mean, it's partially true, but there's a deeper truth and a truth that you have more control over, and it's like, oh no, I believe bullshit. Like that's it. I can't stop anybody from lying to me. You know, I can't, you know, but I can do my due diligence to try to verify information as much as I can. And that's where I've kind of moved to today. And so like I don't believe anything without good reason to believe it, right? But it took me a while to get there, but I'm so glad that I'm there. But I did realize that the first conspiracy theory that I ever believed was the conspiracy theory about Procter and Gamble. And I had to look it up just to make sure that I wasn't having like some type of fever dream. And I hope I still have this pulled up. And I do. And I have to biggie size my screen because I have old man eyes. But I don't do any of you remember the conspiracy theory about Procter and Gamble? Are any of you old enough to remember the conspiracy theory about Procter and Gamble? And I'm gonna try to keep up with the chat, y'all. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Man, bum ass chicken burrito. I like chicken burritos. Let's see here. I've always wondered why people mock conspiracy. I could be wrong, but wasn't the idea of creating America a conspiracy against the King of England? Well, no, like, yeah, there's all different types of conspiracy. There's conspiracy to commit murder, conspiracy to commit fraud. But in this case, we're talking about conspiracy theories, which is technically a different category. That's a different bucket of information. Let's see here. I used to be able to witness Genghis Khan control his spear. Now it is a wild Khan spear. That is, you know what? You did it. You did it. That reminds me of an Arrested Development joke. You know, wait, is that a gal I see? No, it's just a fallacy. I don't know if y'all saw that, you know, but there's some innuendo there. Yeah, right. The American Revolution was not a conspiracy theory, right? Buckets. The biggest conspiracy theory that I overcame was the conspiracy that I'm not God, but I got to the other side. I'm definitely God. Y'all are too much. Lizard people. Yeah, the lizard people is the one I hear a lot about. Yeah, you can actually have a conspiracy. The theories are the ones that don't exist. Exactly. Oh man, got a burrito myself, ordered on Grubhub. Man, lizard people everywhere. Conspiracy to commit conspiracy. Hey, that is going in there. I want that on a shirt. I want that on a shirt. And it's good to see you, Infidel. I want that on a shirt. Conspiracy to commit conspiracy. David Ick. I have not heard of him in such a long time. He's the lizard people guy. He is. Well, see, back when I was growing up, and I'm just kind of dating myself here, during the 80s and the 90s, Procter and Gamble faced a persistent, bizarre conspiracy theory alleging the company was affiliated with Satanism. Now, the funny thing is, if you told me that today, because of what I know about the Satanic Church and because of what I know about Satanism, I'd be like, oh, that doesn't mean anything. They're just a nonprofit organization who does good stuff, and they're typically just provocative with their appearance because they know that Christians believe in a boogeyman, and it's really that. Like, it so blows my mind how easy it is to convince people of foolishness if they're not willing to double check the information. Because of course, like, which that can be considered a conspiracy theory itself. The idea that Satanists worship Satan, and it's just like, oh no, they don't. Now, yeah, no. I was like, oh wow, I've had this all wrong. But there was also the conspiracy theory that atheists eat babies. I don't know who came up with that one. Yes. Oh yes. Please, if I fuck up the name of this game, don't be mad at me. I've never been a tabletop RPG guy, but Dungeon and Dragons. Yes, I think I got it right. But yeah, like I thought Dungeon and Dragons was satanic when I was a kid. I thought Harry Potter was satanic when I was a kid. But then I saw the movie Charmed, and they were all good looking. Not the movie, but the show Charmed, and they were all good looking. So I said, oh, they're not Satanists. They're too hot to be Satanists. They're, you know, sent people to jail on conspiracy theories. Zero evidence of anything ever actually happening. My Christian family was really on me. That's bad, man. I hate that. I hate that. The pyramids conspiracy. Oh no, and I bought into those for a while because y'all know I went through my Black nationalist, Pan Africanist phase. I'm still technically a Pan Africanist, but like, oh my goodness, there were plenty of conspiracies about the pyramids, man. Microwaves are where the CIA and such put their devices because you can't use aluminum foil around them. But what if conspiracy theories were just a plot to sell more aluminum foil for the hats? Hey, y'all are on one today. This is too good. Yeah, they do buy into, like, I had a roommate one time, man. Like he had deconstructed, but he was still, yes, the Salem witch trials. Which there's a great documentary about the Salem witch trials on Disney Plus right now, I believe. I think it's called Witches. Apparently, MAGA is the highest degree in the churches. I want to. That is hilarious. Newbie Christians still bring all this stuff up. It's been debunked for 50 years, and they're still in love with it. Absolutely. No, I had a roommate one time that he really bought into this guy who claimed to be like an African prophet. And he was like, yeah, if you pray to the east and point your hands towards the east at a certain time, you're ultimately going to go Super Saiyan or something. Like, I don't know if y'all remember this, but like this was like maybe 7 or 8 years ago. There were several of my people, several of my people who really believed on a certain day that if they stood and looked in a certain way and said a certain prayer, that they were gonna go Super Saiyan. Like, I don't know if y'all seen what was it, The Last Dragon, I think was the name of, but where Bruce Leroy at the end of the movie, he basically gets the juice and like Sho'nuff is beating him up and he's like, who's the baddest? Who's the baddest? And he keeps like drowning his head in the water, and then he comes up with the soul glow and he says, I am. And he's like glowing because basically he going Super Saiyan. And so like my roommate literally thought that he was going to go Super Saiyan, and he was horribly disappointed that he didn't, which he also thought that he had got a job licking envelopes that was going to pay him $800 a week. And I told him, I was like, bruh, you do know that like they buy devices that do that now. Ain't nobody about to pay you to put your spit on an envelope for $800 a week, which is, which show me some, yes. Bruce Leroy. I'm glad somebody else remembers that movie. It was one of my favorites as a child, man. They take that lesson from Christianity, and that's really, there's a cognitive phrase that we used to use it in the church, right? And the church was use it or lose it, and that was about your gifts, your talents. If you don't use the gifts that the Lord gave you, then the Lord is going to take those gifts, which is very weird because the scripture says that the gifts and calling of the Lord are without repentance. So I don't know where they got it from. But the actual phrase, use it or lose it, is a cognitive term, which basically means that if you're not using your cognitive muscles, for lack of better words, you will lose them. You'll lose those reflexes. It's not that you'll lose them forever, but it's just like anything. If I stop lifting weights, which I have, you don't really see anything pumping up in there because use it or lose it. And so Christianity does train us to accept things, and not just Christianity, any superstitious religion, any superstitious culture, even the way, like, I'm one of those people, I think the way we approach politics many times is very, very superstitious, but it trains you to substitute confidence for curiosity, to substitute clarity for certainty. And it's like, no, 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 we need to get some comprehension here. What I need from you is understanding. You got, and all of your getting, you got to get some understanding. And like, that's what conspiracy theories tend to realm, is somebody's going to talk to you about something that they know that you don't have any insight on. And like, that's how they get you. That's how they get you. I'm trying to keep up with this chat, but y'all are going, man. Y'all are going. Oh, I like that. Exercise or atrophy. That's it. And to like, that's why, hey, exercise that noggin, man. There's laughing about conspiracy theory, but yeah, it's a cult thing, and eventually they get destructive. See Jim Jones drinking Flavor Aid, Evan Gates, yes. Well, like, and well, that was one of the reasons why, like, I realized, like, no, I've got to start speaking up and talking more and sharing some insights, because it's not just that people believe in stupid things. Like, man, I've still got some stupid things that I believe. The biggest concern becomes like, man, because they believe stupid things, they don't really know how to know true things, and that makes them more susceptible to scams and misinformation. I like challenging those people who think they've been given all the gifts to an intellectual battle. He seems to be very selective with his gifts. I like that. Christianity also tells you that people are going to persecute you and mock you and try to harm you. So it's not inoculating the cult against detractors. Yes. I guess my belief that they invented the concept of hell for social control is a conspiracy theory. That is a really good call out. Like, and again, something being a conspiracy theory doesn't mean it's not true. It just means that I don't have enough evidence to reach that conclusion. It possibly could be true, but I don't have it, and I'm going to share one of my most popular conspiracy theories closer to the end. Understanding is hard. It is, man. That's why so many relationships fall apart. What are your thoughts on Gnosticism, ancient conspiracy theory? Yep, I think you answered it. You answered it. That's how I kind of view Gnosticism, ancient conspiracy theories. I knew Infidel was going to get it. You can't escape the chat. I knew Infidel was going to get it. Oh man. Oh, I love it. See, I'm glad this is helpful for y'all, because, like, honestly, this is really just a chit chat. This is really me just hanging out with y'all today. I've been going through a lot, and so I just wanted to talk. But yeah, so I got caught up in the Procter and Gamble Satanic Panic one, and it was this idea that there was a man in the moon in the logo, and it had 666 in it, and the CEO supported the Church of Satan. Which, again, if I heard the same thing today, I'd be like, good for him. They're such a wholesome organization. The Church of Satan does a lot of good things. Unfortunate name for sure if you believe in boogeymen, which is kind of the point. But the rumor really got pushed based off of a talk show, which I didn't even know that. It was somebody else that came and told me. And so, you know what I did? I, as a new, young, freshly minted believer in the faith, and I guess I had been officially ordained in believing bullshit. And so I was really good at believing bullshit at that moment. I mean, man, I think from 7th grade up until 11th grade, you could have told me anything and I would have absolutely believed it. And so when they told me Procter and Gamble is working for Satan, and they're trying to turn us all into Satanists by selling us toilet tissue, I don't exactly know how that was supposed to work, but I'm going around my little middle school and I'm telling everybody, hey, godless granny, welcome in. And I'm telling everybody, hey, you've got to stop using Procter and Gamble ASAP. It's Satan stuff. And everybody's believing me for the most part, up until like one girl, I'll never forget her. Her name was Jaria Wilson. Her father actually runs a local radio station here, owns a radio station here. And she said, dude, none of that's true. And I was like, how do you know? It has to be true. It's everywhere. Look, it's the 6 and the 6 and the 6, which is very interesting because even in the Bible, 666 isn't as concrete as people think it is. It can be 666 or it can be 616. No one's really sure. Well, you're kind of sure, but not really sure. You know how that goes? Uh, you didn't believe that one. Fell for most of them, but not that one. Oh, they got me. They got me hook, line, and sinker. But Jaria, like she snapped me out of it. And I don't know if y'all remember, around that time, there were also pictures floating around of angels. Do y'all remember the angels photographs? Like, this was back when you had to shake them like a Polaroid, shake it like a Polaroid picture. They had pictures of angels, and for whatever reasons, like the angels would have lipstick and stuff. And it was like, oh, that's proof of God. And like now, you can show me a picture of anything as proof of anything. Like, man, like, oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, like Satan's trying to take over the world through toilet paper. Like it's like help me understand. How did I believe that? How did I believe that? But no, my friend, she was like, Darante, it's just not true. And of course, I don't know if y'all know, but Procter and Gamble sued a lot of people over that. A lot of people over that. But now again, thinking back, it's just so funny that I realized that the first conspiracy theory that I ever bought into took place shortly after I gave my life to Jesus Christ. It's like as soon as I got saved, I was vulnerable to conspiracy theories, because I don't know, like at that moment you believe in a Satan and you believe in a God and you believe the whole world is against God. And so that really does prime that pump, man. And my pump was primed. And so that wasn't the last conspiracy theory that I really attached myself to. And that's the thing. They were never biblically accurate angels. Number one, it was always women. And there's no women angels in the Bible, not that I've seen, and I've read it a few times, I like to think. But again, that shows you the strength of a conspiracy theory is not how accurate it can be, it's not how true to form it can be, it's just how appetizing. How tasty it is. You're like, oh, that's tempting to believe. It's like good tea, like, damn, that's sweet. It doesn't have to be true. It's just something that people, it doesn't have to be something that people need to believe. It's just something that they want to believe. Man. Uh, yeah, okay, so I did see that. What I did see. The mind of an innocent kid is such a dreamy place. It's beautiful, but could be dangerous. Oh my goodness. That is so true. I didn't think you were old enough to have right? Yeah. I'm up there. I am up there. Conspiracy, they open you up, man. I was, ooh. A fellow school kid said he was going to bring me a Chinese throwing star that can cut through trees. I waited on that Chinese star for 2 months before I realized bro was lying. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, no. Now I remember my first conspiracy theory. Santa Claus. That's the first conspiracy theory that I believed in. I believed in the conspiracy of Santa, which led me straight to Jesus. Oh, man. I wonder if conspiracies are popular because people like the idea that they're in, oh, that's so good, that they're in on some secret knowledge and thus have an advantage over those who don't. Now, that is something that I realized with my friends who believed that aliens were visiting the planet and they were taking over stuff. And I was like, so is your biggest flex that you know, or are you planning on doing something about this? Is it like really is really the big flex for you? Like if this actually happens to be true and aliens like blow up the White House like they did in almost every alien movie, because aliens and movies are so obsessed with the United States. But like, would your biggest flex if aliens are enslaving human population be just like, see, I told y'all? Like that's really what you want to do? But it does seem that that's a part of the reason why conspiracy theories are attractive to people, because it makes you feel like you're in on some secret. That's a really good call out. QAnon sucked in a lot of people looking for child sex predators, then got on the Trump train. Now they're realizing the calls coming from inside the house. So true. And great movie reference. Man, get some of those sunglasses from They Live. Oh man. Oh, like there was a series we did for one of our Sunday sessions where I wanted to do a skit from They Live because man, we live there. I believed in Santa for too long, all because of the movie Polar Express. The kid gets a bell, and if you ever stop believing in Santa, you aren't able to hear it anymore. I didn't want to lose out. That's wild. Yeah, that's another thing about like even just how movies can shape our relationship with reality. Because I think there was I don't know if y'all remember this franchise. I cannot remember the actor. Some if y'all remember the franchise, please put the actor's name in there. Was it something Burns? I think his name was something Burns. But the franchise was Dear God. I don't know if y'all remember that. Dear God. And oh my goodness, I love that movie. I enjoyed that movie. And it's like, yeah, I'd like God to be a nice old white man like this. This is pretty cool. And then what was the Santa movie with it was a remake, but when they remade it, they did it with the dude from Jurassic Park, whose name I can't remember right now, and the girl from Matilda, whose name I used to know. But these things all really made me want to believe. Like they made me want to believe bullshit. But like, and again, and it took me, I was 28 years old when I finally realized, like, Durante, you believe a lot of things that are not true, and you should probably do something about that. Like there's something like you don't have to believe stuff just because people say it. Science hypotheses plays a role as well. Dragons and dinosaurs are two sides of the same coin. Ooh, very good. Very good. I like that. Miracle on 34th Street. Thank you. And George Burns. Thank you. Thank you. This is why I love y'all. Is that a song too? This is why I love you. Oh no, it's I Hope This Makes You Love Me. That's by Tank, which is an awesome song. I don't know if y'all know who Tank is, real name Darrell Babs, but check him out. He has some dope stuff. It's all sexy stuff, but it's dope. You don't have to believe anything at all. That's right. Nope. I've definitely gotten to myself places now, like when people do try to, get me to buy in on something. That's one of the first questions that I really do ask. Why do I need to believe this? And then why do you need me to believe this? Why do you want me to believe? Like my drug dealer was gonna fight me over not believing that Dr. Sebi could heal people. And I'm like, what does my non-belief about this impact? If he can heal people, my non-belief ain't gonna stop him from healing people. And you ain't got the disease he healing, so I don't understand why you so invested, you know. But it's so interesting. Now that you mention it, it's always the character that believes the crazy stuff that turns out to be right. I mean, whenever a character says that can never happen, guarantees it will happen. That's yes, yes. If you don't believe in something, oh, that is so good. If you don't believe in something, you'll fall for anything. Kind of feels like that's not true. And that was that was definitely such a common phraseology when I was growing up. If you don't believe in anything, you'll fall. It's like, well, I feel like it's the other way around now. If you believe in bullshit, you'll kind of fall for anything. And I've seen that. That was one of the scariest things to me. Like even after I deconverted, I still maintain friendship with a lot of my pastor friends, and then seeing them with new eyes broke my heart. Not that they were doing anything. Well, some of them were doing some fucked up shit, but not that they were doing anything like bad. But it broke my heart because I realized like when you do believe in bullshit, it's really hard to draw that line. And I don't know if it's a cultural thing, a class thing, if this impacts people who come from impoverished communities more than other people. But I know that I was able to look around and realize, like, man, the same people who believe in Jesus also believe in MLMs. Like, if you like, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Isn't that the thing? Do the science, man. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research and see what you find. But in the United States of America, like the majority of people who are like convinced of some scam and get taken advantage of are also believers. Like, and it's almost like the people who come up with the scams just say, "Hey, let's just skip everybody else and go straight to church." That's where the most gullible people are. Like I had one of my mentors, and this was actually while I was still in the faith. One of my former mentors, he was a great guy. His wife was a bit problematic, but he was a great guy in Greenville, South Carolina at the time. He's in California now, but he and his whole church got. There was a guy that came in almost like the Music Man, which is one of my favorite musicals, by the way, the original. But this guy came in like the Music Man, really selling them on this great idea that he was going to help their members own property, buy houses and stuff like that, and be financially secure. And he laid it out for them really, really well. And my former mentor was like, "Oh, this is going to be great." He introduced it. He brought the guy in and introduced him everybody to his church. And this was a mega church, and quite a few of the members, including my mentor, former mentor, invested, in the thing. And I mean, it wasn't a little bit of money. They invested, and dude disappeared, took the money and ran, gone. And things got so bad that because now like the culprit is gone. Who are you gonna blame? You're gonna blame the pastor because he's the one that introduced this guy. Because at that moment, it's really hard to see the pastor as just as much of a victim as the people, but he actually was just as much as a victim as the people. The problem that none of them had the maturity to recognize is that, like, no, y'all all believed bullshit. Like that was the common denominator here is y'all together believed this. And it's something that I often tell people, like, do I feel bad when people get scammed? Absolutely. But there's another side of that coin. Many times people get scammed because they're looking for a scam. Y'all don't want to talk to me today. Jalapeno. Many times people get scammed because they're looking for a scam. They're looking to get something without having to go through the process. It's kind of like, what Jack and the Giant Beanstalk process. Like, no, I don't want to have to deal with the cow, because you're gonna have to feed the cow. You're gonna have to, raise the cow. You're gonna have to milk the cow. And eventually, if you want the meat from the cow, you're going to have to butcher it. And that just sounds like way too much work. But you're going to give me these magical beans, and I'm just going to plant those, and they're going to grow by itself. And then I can just, go up there. Like, no, you were looking for a scam. That's why you found one. I had to tell my sister this once. I just don't know. I just keep getting scammed because you keep looking for scams. You keep looking for a way to get things without going through the process. So when someone shows up and say, "Hey, there's a way you can do this," and everybody lying, you're like, "Oh, yes, finally, I don't have to work as damn hard." And it's like, man, listen, life is work. I'm sorry, I hate to tell you. And anybody who's telling you something differently is likely getting ready to rob your ass. All right, I'm just trying to tell you. Oh man. Religious manipulation is often used in MLMs. God called you to grow and marry Kate. Come on now. So if you ever think you're getting scammed, like, you're sinning. That's right. That is so true. I've seen it. But he also came back asking about the formula spell ritual that had to be performed. Oh, that's too much. That is too much. I've heard that line, not for Mary Kate. Wow. I guess they are used to people going to Wiccan type of stuff out of the religion. Man, it's so scam way. Oh, I remember them. Why do you think people, Hollywood, etc., have not been interested in producing more stories or documentaries on Constantine? Could it be there is the scam? Hey, it's possible. It's possible. I'm from Philly and I'm still trying to trust the process. If I can still do that shit, come on. Like, yes, it's rough out here, man. It's rough out here. It's rough. Like, the thing that I try to do now for me to keep me from jumping to conspiracy theories is the same way that I now go through my religious beliefs with a fine tooth comb. I go through anything that's asking me to attach my belief to it, and just say, "Hey, do I understand this?" And watch this. What I've seen, like the money scams focus on, like, they really try to make you feel bad for not understanding. They don't want you to admit that you don't understand or that you don't get it. And so, like, there was this thing that came through the Black churches a few years ago called blessing looms. Do y'all remember blessing looms? They had these little flowers, and it's just like, yeah, everybody gonna put money in, and then we all gonna be rich. And I'm like, I don't know a lot about economics, but I don't think that's how money works. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to cycle it. It needs to be circulated. There needs to be some value increase. There needs to be some type of appreciation going on. But you literally just convince people that, hey, we're going to put some money in. And I mean, they were doing this. they were going around. So many of my pastor friends jumped on this, convincing their members that this is God's way to get us rich. And see, remember I told you, if you're looking for a scam, I mean, if you get scammed 9 times out of 10, you were looking for a scam. That's why you found it. And so, damn, they lost a lot of money. And I remember one of my friends got really, really mad at me because I looked through it. I wanted to believe him. I said, man, let me walk through it. And I'm like, wait a minute. I said, I'm gonna be very honest with you, brother. This doesn't seem sustainable. And I'm like, the more and more I look at this, and listen, I want people to do well, man. Like, I've grown up in poverty my entire life. I'm still fighting poverty, boxing that mother. Like, I'm out here. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I am motherfucking me. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I want, no, if there's something out there that's gonna get people rich, let's do it. Let's get everybody rich overnight. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, this math is not mathing. And no matter how hard I tried to explain that, he was dead set against. No, my mother-in-law was the same way because she got caught in up on it too. And it's like, nah, he don't know what he talking about. He just hating. And I'm like, so I'm intelligent any other time. But when I'm looking at this, now all of a sudden I'm a dumbass, But a part of what got them in was that it's something they didn't know about. Like, I don't know, there's this guy now out and he's trying to get all the black people investing in stocks. And so some of my friends are like, yeah, man, we need to be investing. And I'm like, dude, you don't have a savings account. Dude, you ain't got a house. Like, priorities much? How about let's work on getting financially, like there's levels to this, okay? There's financial stability, then financial security, you know what I'm saying? And then maybe you can get to financial sovereignty. But you just can't believe stuff just because somebody told you that. Because now somebody done told them, yeah, all you got to do is invest and you will be a millionaire in a couple of months, bruh. And I'm like, no, that's just, I ain't trying to be the bearer of bad news. I'm not trying to pour water on your happy day, but I'm just saying it just doesn't work that way. And I'm like, if you're serious about this, why not study investors? Why study the person who's giving you the cheapest version of the idea when there's plenty of information out here about the investors? And the thing is, like, if that's too much work for you, then investing is going to be too much damn work for you. I'm telling you that now. If you can't read about the investors, no, don't do this. Don't do this to yourself. Oh man, the prosperity gospel. Yes. They said that about the offering plate. You are not wrong. Or they make it confusing on purpose. So you just say, they must know what they're talking about. Also happens with those health supplements, MLMs. Oh man, which they're always trying to get you. There's always some new health scam. Some principles, same principles for getting catfished. If you got catfished, it's only because you were fishing for catfishes. Come on now. Preach, my friend. The confessional is the perfect avenue for blackmail, sadly. That is so true. That is so true. Actually, I think I did a video, while not on the confessional, because I come from a different type of denomination, but I did do a video exposing, like, in a lot of charismatic churches, Pentecostal churches, urban churches, that a lot of the stuff that's passed off as like prophecy, like, oh, I don't know how to pastor knew I was gonna. It's like, heifer, you put it on the prayer request card. What do you think? You think you just write it on the prayer request card and they throw it up to God? No, they read that shit. They read it. And then they come out and say, yeah, I feel like somebody in his son is going through something. I feel like, did he just get, I feel like he just got 6 years. Who am I talking to? Oh my God, how did they know that? You wrote it down. You wrote it down. Churches, like they really, especially the charismatic churches, they survive off of prayer request cards, as far as seeming prophetic, prayer request cards, and a gossip circle. Like, man, everybody telling everybody business. Oh man. All right, let me get back in here. Okay, I saw that one. Sometimes people want a miracle more than they want the result of a miracle. And that's so good, because it's just the idea of feeling special. Like, it could happen to me. Wasn't that a movie? Like, it could happen to you type of thing. Darante, do you intend to return to the line anytime soon? No. I resigned from the line back in October. I had stopped being on there. I started trying to slow down in August. And just in full transparency, it's just because as much as I love the line, and I enjoy the work that they do, it was starting to attract attention to my channel that really does not represent who I am. Um, I did it because I enjoy being a part of this community, but I really don't enjoy dunking on Christians. I don't enjoy trying to change anybody else's mind, and nor did I want, because what started happening, so many people started messaging me, "Hey, what can I do to get this Christian?" And I'm like, "Hey, bro, like that's kind of immature. Like, leave those people alone. Like if you don't know them, why are you messing with them? Like, don't that's never from a sociological perspective, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I was like, that ain't gonna work. You're just gonna antagonize them, and you're gonna push them deeper and deeper into their belief. It creates an entrenchment situation where they start digging their heels in, and they become more hyper religious. And so, like, it for me, it's just not a great fit, And as much as I love it, it's not what I do. Um, mm-mm. But no, much support for them. And just in all full transparency, there are a few people who support that organization that have spread slanderous rumors about me. So I'm glad I resigned before that happened. Yeah, yeah, I do not seek out talking to theists. Like I've been there. I was in it for way too long. Like it's not fun to me. I don't like talking to people who, if the conversation is going to make me feel that you a dumbass, I don't want to be in a conversation with you because I don't want to feel that way about other people. It's not healthy for me. And like in all honesty, full transparency, I have critically high blood pressure. Critically high, which means my top numbers, I forgot what the top ones are, but my top numbers are typically between 180 and 220. I'm supposed to be dead. So like I really do try to avoid as much high pressure situations as possible because I don't want to have a stroke. I don't want to die. Like I would like for all of my kids to graduate. And and I don't want to die. I want them to graduate before I'm here. Yeah, the gossip in the church is real. Like that's how the pastors be knowing the business. Talking, God told me. God didn't tell you. Sister Shirley told you. I saw it when she was coming to your house. His wife would read the cards to him over ready. Yes, that was actually because it was Randy, the magician guy. He actually did the expose. Peter Popoff is who that was. Yes, which was weird, but it happens. It happens a lot. Yeah, man. That yeah. Yeah, I came to you from Mindshift channel, and he often does battle with Christians in his comments. I noticed it happened less over here. Yeah, like it's just not a thing I do. What Christians are going to get from me, and that's only if they're trying to get provocative. I have a bot on my channel that I'll activate, which I used to have it running like automatic, like anytime someone puts up negative on the channel, the bot would just come up and say "poor fella." But I realized the bot wasn't good at sentiment analysis. And so sometimes the person wasn't saying something negative, they weren't saying anything bad, and they'd get the poor fella, and I'd have to come back and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that happened." And but so I made it less automated. So now I get a little thing. Slander and gossip is the worst, especially from the church. It really is bad. Like I don't like stuff like that in the least bit. There are a lot of atheist channels who do try to have honest conversations. Those are the atheist channels I give attention to these days. That's good. Yeah, I do prefer those. James Randi, thank you. I do prefer those honest conversations. That's why I do give. And I did a video called "The Problem with Atheist Call-In Shows," which some people thought it was going to be an attack on atheist call-in shows, which it wasn't. The very first line was, "I enjoy them." This is actually not going to be a conversation on what's wrong with atheist call-in shows, but what we're expecting to get from them. And a lot of times it's just there's a selection bias issue. The type of people who call in for a call-in show are likely not the type of people who are fundamentally going to church. They're not likely not the type of people who are going to church every Sundays and Wednesdays. They're likely not tithing anywhere. They're likely not serving in a church. It attracts trolls. And then the problem becomes, this is me just from a sociological perspective, you don't have to agree with me. I'm not that person. But the problem for me becomes is then you start treating the Christians in your life as if they're the people calling in on the call-in show. And so you're expecting the call-in show tactics to work on them. And I'm like, no, you're just going to ruin relationships in your life. And that did become concerning for me. of watching people like, really just like, no, you're fucking up relationships in your life with people you love for no reason, because now in your mind, well, they're Christian, they must be MAGA. And it's like, oh no, that's not quite how that works. I mean, I get how you get there. Speaking of conspiracy theories, right? I get how you get there, but you do not have enough evidence to draw that conclusion, which is something that I constantly caution people about. Knowing somebody's label is not the same thing as knowing somebody. All right. So, like, you can know Darante is black. He must eat fried chicken. Well, I do eat fried chicken, but it's not because I'm black. You know what I'm saying? There are plenty of people who eat fried chicken. I think Asians eat more fried chicken than black folk. Why is there not a stereotype on Asians? Now, let me stop. I don't want to put any stereotypes on Asians. Let me not. But no, yeah. Oh, snap. Myth Vision, good stuff. Absolutely. I love Derek Lambert and the work that he does. And then also Brady Goodwin, Ichabod. I think I actually mentioned him in the video that I did. You ever look into Mark being the first gospel? Yes. That was actually one of the conspiracy theories that I believed at one time, was that Mark was actually black. I was hard in there, man. Y'all don't understand. And that's why they was trying to hide it. In the Ethiopian Coptic church is the original church. And they've been hiding this from us because they didn't want us to know that the black man is the original man. And he's the original Christian. And Jesus was black too. And then at some point, like when you go through all this stuff, you're like, why does this matter? Like, what? In what world does this matter? Like, in real life, why? How does this actually matter? What would this change about my life? What would this change about reality? Not a damn thing. Like that. That's how I shake myself out of stuff sometimes. When I'm chasing a rabbit trail, when I'm going down a rabbit hole of bullshit, sometimes I have to catch myself and be like, dude, why does this even matter? Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's what I was saying. Brady Goodwin, Ichabod, he takes calls on his show as well. But one thing that I loved about what Brady does, and I think I did call this out in my video, is he'll often have conversations with Christians he knows, which that I like. I am incredibly interested in those type of conversations, because I think while no one person, because Christianity is not a monolith. I mean, damn, there's like 44,000 different denominations, and I've never met two Christians who actually believe the same thing. Like I pastored 3 churches in my life. I think maybe is it 3 or 4 at this moment. I've pastored at least 3 churches. I've served with several churches. And in none of those experiences could I ever find 2 believers who actually believed the exact same things. And so why we're never going to get a clear picture of what everybody believes from one person, but you do get a better picture of how many Christians approach their faith. Because and for the most part, those are not the ones who are trying to defend the contradictions. Those are not the ones who are trying to defend the bad behavior in the Bible. Most of the times, those people have already wrestled with those things in their own little way. Not saying they've wrestled with them logically. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying they've wrestled with them in their own little way. And so those conversations are always fascinating to me, because to me, it gives you a better picture of what functional Christianity looks like, as opposed to troll Christianity, which there's all of my years as a Christian, I had watched atheist content before. Neither me nor any of my colleagues nor any of my members would ever go into atheist spaces and comment under the stuff. Like, it's not something we did. And so when I see people doing that, one of the things that crosses my mind is like, yeah, you probably don't even go to nobody's church. And I guess that's my bias as a pastor, as a former pastor. Is just like, nah, if you don't go to church, you're not really a Christian. I don't care what you say. Like, because a part of being a Christian means you're a part of an organized religion. If you ain't going to church, you're just a spiritual person who identifies with Jesus. Is the only way I can put that. But a Christian, you have to be and I mean, and this is actually a good point. Like, that should be where our concern is. Not the random trolls on YouTube. Them motherfuckers ain't got no power. They're not doing shit. They're not even voting. No, it's the organized Christianity that you want a better understanding of, which means we need to be talking to the people who go to church every Sunday, which is like one of the issues like I have with apologists. Like, I really do wish the secular community would stop promoting apologists because churches don't promote apologists. And so like right now, like the apologist community biggest form of support comes from the secular community because we think they're representatives of the church. These motherfuckers ain't getting invited to nobody church. Kent Ham and Kent Hovind ain't getting invited. No, West Huff ain't at nobody church. Okay, no, we thought these people were crazy. We thought they were crazy. No, and of course I can't speak for all Christians. Just the ones who were actually successful in what we were doing. All right, and those are the ones we should be concerned about because that one works a little different. Now, what's going on behind the doors isn't what's being said in the on Sunday mornings. You know. Oh man, Monica, welcome in. I don't know why I sang your name like that, but I guess I'm on one today. Oh, this has actually been good conversation. I haven't even gotten to my biggest conspiracy theory yet. Growing up, we never discussed it. It was just black church. Black churches versus white church. When I was a kid, I honestly thought black meant Baptist. And so the first time I saw like some white people coming out of a church that had Baptist on it, I was like, what? Nuh-uh. Like, what they doing at the black church? And it's like, that's not a black church. It says it right there. Baptist. Baptist means black, obviously. Boy, was I on one when I was a kid. Speaking of which, one of those little white Baptist churches, because as you know, born and raised in the South, I don't know if you know, but yes, born and raised in the South, Southern United States, for those of you who are global. But like my aunt took, we were driving by a church and they had a little bake sale thing going on. And I asked my aunt, like, hey, can I go get some cookies? And she said, yeah, you go get some cookies. And so I jumped out the car and I'll get some cookies. I got my little dollar and I said, I like some cookies. And she was like, oh, we don't sell colored cookies here. And I was just like, but those, I see the M&Ms right there, so I don't understand. M&Ms got colors, and I didn't necessarily ask for the colored cookies, but I think all the cookies are colored. And so, but she was like, we don't sell colored cookies. And so I was like, okay, whatever. So I went back, jumped in, got in the car and told my aunt. And my aunt says, hey, where are your cookies? And I said, they don't sell colored cookies. She didn't tell me that day what I had just experienced. But I could, like my aunt, she's very high yellow. Like if we were back in, I don't know if y'all know what high yellow means, just light skin. Like back in the day, she could have probably passed for white, but I just saw her face flush with red and I could see that she was, emotionally upset. But it took me a few years later to figure out what had just transpired. Yeah. All right, let me get back in here. We're good. Okay, I'm trying to catch up. The denomination goes back to the idea of secret knowledge. Yeah, it really does, man, because that's how all the denominations kind of work. Like we got the real truth, The rest of y'all ain't got nothing. Man, because I kept catching myself wanting to troll them. Which in all fairness, Dark Light, you're very good at trolling. You're very good at it. Happy Friday. I sang it again, Monica. I don't know why. People like to feel special in the know, but once you have a certain number in the know, those in the know don't feel special. And so now you got to know something different. That's literally how Pentecostalism spread, why you get so many different branches of Pentecostalism. Like you just got to keep upping the ante a little bit. Being organized around identity does not make those people actually become that identity. It just makes the people organized around that identity. I like that. It's Friday, time traveling. That's hilarious. So they break off with their own modified version, and thus both parts get to feel that yep. I thought the same thing. Baptist always meant black to me. Like I was like, definitely like, yeah, what are y'all doing? You're supposed to be at the Methodist church. What are you over here? And it's funny because like the other side of my family were Methodists, but they were the African Methodist Episcopals. And so that's like, see, that's how you know they black, because they're African. And they got to say African because if you don't put African, because Methodists mean white, so you got to let them know, like, we different ones. It's so funny things that kids come to up in their minds. Trump didn't win because he appealed to organized Christian groups. That was almost a given. He won by enfranchising those who isolate themselves and their radical opinions from public view. I have to disagree with that because I come from those churches that he won. You have to think about who his faith director is. She's a mega church pastor, right? And she's not the only one. Kenneth Copeland. These are people who supported him. Even some black mega churches pastors supported him. People who are not organized rarely get anything done. So I respectfully disagree. It's a superpower of mine. Great power comes with great responsibility. Y'all are too much. Y'all are too much. Yeah, like no. I come from these churches. I know how these churches organize. I know what they're preaching in their pulpits. Trolls are gonna troll. They're not showing up at the polls. But these churches, no, they're busing people to the polls. That's the purpose of organization. That's the power of organization. That's also one of the reasons we're losing. We do more fussing and pointing fingers and trying to sound right instead of just doing right. I just prefer to do right. I don't want to always have to sound right. Nor do I even feel the pressure to, honestly. I just like being me. I enjoy being me, and it's really cool. All right, I told y'all I was not going to be here long, and we've been here for over an hour already. So I'm going to introduce y'all to a conspiracy theory that actually led to this conversation of why I said, okay, I think I want to talk about conspiracy theories today. I was getting ready to go to my first meeting of the day, and I was looking for some old files, and something popped out of one of my old bags. I don't know if y'all can see this. And let y'all see it real quick. Now, this is not a conspiracy theory, but this is just what cracked what cracked this conversation open for me today. This was y'all can't see any of that, was a pamphlet that I had designed back in my Black nationalist days. And I don't want to say I designed it. It was written by Stokely Carmichael, also known as Kwame Ture, who was one of my political heroes. And it's called Toward Black Liberation. And this was something my wife and I used to run a homeschool out of our house. And so we had students of damn near all ages, even adult students, because we were helping adults get their high school diplomas and stuff like that. And one of my favorite subjects was teaching people Black history, things that I didn't learn in school, and things that I had forgotten about after I got saved. Because when I was younger, I was fascinated with African American history. So I read Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington. I read the narratives, the life and narrative of Frederick Douglass. I read almost everything I could find about W.B. Du Bois. I did not quite make it to Marcus Garvey until after. But once I got saved, it's like, oh no, none of that matters anymore. And so I left all of that. Getting my degree in social science opened that passion back up for me, especially going through my sociology classes, because I started getting pissed off again. Like, damn, shit's really bad, isn't it? So we do a lot of teaching on Black nationalism, Pan-Africanism, and stuff like that. That's actually what led me to become a humanist, because our school wasn't just for Black kids. And I was like, oh no, so we have Hispanic kids and we have white kids, and I don't want to just be inundating them with Black history. I mean, it's important that they learn it too. And so we did teach it, but it was like, I also need to get educated on their history so I can teach them things about their history that makes their life worth celebrating and worth living and worth valuing. And that's, I really begin to think about that. Like, oh no, yeah, I kind of want everybody to value themselves and to live in a world where they can live in their own truth. And so that really kind of guides my work. But this took me back to a very interesting time in my life. All right. How many of you know who Napoleon Bonaparte? No, don't you come for me if I mispronounce this man's name. I don't like the French motherfucker, okay? But how many of you are familiar with Napoleon Bonaparte? And is it Bonaparte or is it Bonaparte? My name ends in an E and it's Darante. So I just do that to everybody else too. So Napoleon Bonaparte. See. Did it? Social filter that says don't say that. That's hilarious. Bonaparte. Yeah, it might be Bonaparte, I don't know. Bonaparte sounds fun now. Like, I want a Bonaparte. Let's just go Bonaparte real quick. Could you get arrested for asking somebody to go Bonaparte with you? Hey, you want to go Bonaparte? I know it feels right, but wrong at the same time. How one finds purpose and personal identity is a key part of many things. When your identity comes from external sources, it can be absolutely dangerous. Absolutely. Oh yeah, Bonaparte. Yeah, I be calling him Bonaparte. I've never heard the E pronounced. See, I might just be fucking the man's name up. See that? Which I do. I don't mind. Like I said, I don't like the French motherfucker. Actually, I have a folder in my computer where I just call his name is Napoleon the Short in my folder, and I do it just to fuck with him. All right, even though he's not alive, rest in peace or whatever he is. All right, so do you also know the name J. Edgar Hoover? Okay, Napoleon Bonaparte, Bonaparte, as I say it, and J. Edgar Hoover. Does anybody know that there is a tiny, tiny connection between these two people? And I'm curious if somebody else knows this before I say it. So I forgive me for like slowing down right here, but I'm curious. I'm so curious. does does anybody know the connection between Napoleon and J. Edgar Hoover? It's a very interesting connection. It's a very interesting connection. All right. Okay. So while y'all are doing that, I'm gonna pull up some stuff and I'm gonna get ready to share my screen a little bit. And it's not gonna be anything fancy. You're about to be looking at a wall of text. So please don't get your hopes up. Let me biggie size this. Yoink. Let me come over here to here, and I'll be waiting in the chat. There's a slight connection, and that connection, and again, when I say conspiracy theory, it's something I believed without enough evidence. I'm not necessarily saying it's not true, but I can't say it's 100% true, and that's why, like, it's a conspiracy theory, but it's kind of a juicy one. It's kind of a juicy one. Me and my son was talking about it today, and we were just kind of laughing because, like, oh, that's kind of diabolical. Which that seems to be a popular word with this new generation, diabolical. Oh, I don't want it to share the screen until y'all are ready. Okay, I got your attention. All right, in high school for 20. All right. Report on two people. Ooh, never heard of it. Curious. Okay. One's alive and the other's dead. I picked Napoleon and Trump. This was before the Apprentice show. That's so hilarious. All right, so we're gonna walk through this just a little bit. Bonaparte. This was the. Do I got it up? Okay, yes, I got it. So, do I need to biggie size this a little bit more? This is what the document that I'm going to share now, and I'll scroll up just to let you see it. I actually retranscribed this document from an old PDF, but you can find it. That's the name of it. Napoleon's Secret Instructions to General Leclerc. All right. And this is, I think, roughly around 1801. You can see that was the name of our school, Chancellor Woodson Schools. Chancellor Woodson was based off of two historians, Chancellor Williams, who wrote The Destruction of Black Civilization, and Carter G. Woodson, who was pretty much known as the father of Black History Month. Even though when he established it, it was established as Negro History Week, and he established it based off of how he saw education being taken advantage of in the Philippines, which is a very interesting story. So once I found this, like, I transcribed this, not like I'm not so smart that like it was written in French and I translated it to English. No, it was in English. It was just in a PDF, and it was just kind of a rough copy. So I had to reformat it and type it myself. And so there was just an interesting line in it. Dang it, did I unhighlight it? I think I did, but that's okay. That's what I have. There we go, right there. All right, so this is a line in this message that Napoleon, party, is that part? He's gonna be party, Bonaparte. See, Bonaparte just sounds like a sexual thing, you know? It just sounds like a sexual invitation. I feel like I'm being solicited. I feel like I'm being like Bonaparte, you know, like Bonaparte. And that's weird. That's weird, you know? I don't know, but it's also, I guess, because my name has the A. I want everybody's name to have the A. No, they got to. They got to. All right. So this was from the chapter 2 of this letter to Leclerc. And you can look it up. That's why I wanted to show you the title of it, because please don't ever take anything I say as gospel truth. I'm a point of reference. I am fallible. I could absolutely be wrong. I could have found something that was made up by somebody else. And if you do find out, like, hey, Darante, that letter is actually that's not real. It's actually a deep fake. I'd be like, thank you for telling me, but how do you know? See, because that's where I go now. But anyway, so it's just this paragraph in chapter 2. I'm going to read it. It says the Spaniards, the British, and the Americans are equally worried to see a black republic. Okay? Yeah, okay. It says the admiral and the major general will write memorandums to the neighboring establishments in order to let them know the goal of the government, the common advantage for the Europeans to destroy the black rebellion, and the hope to be seconded. So, and basically what it's saying is like the one thing that we all agree on is black people cannot get power. It just cannot happen. Black people, and Napoleon had been saying a lot of stuff like this at this time because partly he was getting embarrassed by these two generals in Haiti, as we pronounce it over here, but Haiti, he was getting embarrassed by Toussaint Louverture, who I might be pronouncing his name wrong too, and Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Also, these are some of my heroes, right? Because at that moment they were fighting for the liberation of Haiti, which of course they did get. Things went downhill there because they got punished for it, got punished for liberation. You know, it happens. But so the biggest fear was like, nah, the one thing that we have to stop is the rise of a black empire. You know, that has to be seconded. Black people cannot be in power. You know what I'm saying? Like, just can't do it. All right. So that's Napoleon. All right. Let's switch over. I'm gonna switch to a different screen. And let me biggie size this one too. Biggie size. Share this tab instead. This, am I sharing it yet? Yep. Okay. This is from the goals of COINTELPRO, which was popularly led by, you guessed it, J. Edgar Hoover. All right. And so, of course, under the direction, under Director J. Edgar Hoover, who what's his name? What's the boy, the pretty boy that's now kind of chubby and he date younger people now? His name was Jack when Rose threw him off the thing. And I laughed in the movie theaters and all the white people got mad at me for disrespecting such a sad moment. I'm like, how you gonna be more mad at me than you mad at her? She the one let him drown, you know? And I understand the physics said he couldn't have, you know, made it, but you know, anyway. But anyway, so under Director J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI's COINTELPRO counterintelligence program was aimed at investigating and disrupting dissident political groups within the United States. In the 1960s, COINTELPRO's targets frequently included civil rights activists, but those who espoused nonviolence, like Martin Luther King, and those that Hoover referred to as black nationalist hate groups, like the Black Panthers. That was a period. This document outlines the program's goals in attempting to limit the effectiveness of such groups. In practice, the FBI used infiltration, legal harassment, disinformation, and sometimes extra-legal intimidation and violence against King, the Panthers, and other black activist groups in its attempts to discredit and disrupt them. Now, that's not necessarily where my conspiracy theory jumps in, but it's coming just a little bit. Just a little bit. Leonardo DiCaprio. Thank you. Thank you. I could not remember his name. Oh, that is beautiful. You're so inclusive. With that mindset comes great responsibility. You know, it really does. It's hard. Thank you for those kind words, though. I hope you will give some context. Not all are familiar with American escapades. Most of us, oh yeah, that is so true. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good call out. That's a good call out. All right. Okay. I think I've caught up. All right. So this is the line. It's the first two. Like this is COINTELPRO's marching orders, right? Under J. Edgar Hoover. To prevent the coalition of black nationalist groups, in unity there is strength, a truism that is no less valid for all its triteness. An effective coalition of black nationalist groups might be the first step towards a real Mau Mau, which is Black Revolutionary Army, which I think is I think that's a Kenyan term. I used to know, but I don't know anymore. I should have looked that up. In America, the beginning of a true black revolution. Number two, prevent the rise of a Messiah, which is what that movie Judas and the Black Messiah was about. It was referencing this quote, prevent the rise of a Messiah who could unify and electrify the Black nationalist movement. Malcolm X might have been such a Messiah. He is the martyr of the movement today. Martin Luther King, Stokely Carmichael, and Elijah Muhammad all aspire to this position. Elijah Muhammad is less of a threat because of his age. King could be a very real contender for this position should he abandon his obedience to white liberal doctrines, nonviolence, and embrace Black nationalism. Carmichael, which was the guy who wrote this little thing toward Black liberation that triggered my memory this morning, Carmichael has the necessary charisma to be a real threat in this way. And Carmichael was ultimately forced to move to Ghana. He lived and died in Ghana. W.B. Du Bois was was exiled to Ghana. Even Maya Angelou at one point came under the attack of COINTELPRO and had to move to Ghana. Ghana just kind of became a sanctuary for us, partly because Kwame Nkrumah, who was the president at the time, and it led them to their liberation, to their independence, was very, very welcoming of African Americans. Now, so small connection, right? Where just almost, it seems like they're almost kind of saying the same things. Okay, I think I stopped sharing the screen now. Let me stop sharing because I'm kind of narcissistic and I like to see myself and I can't see myself. Okay, now I can see myself. So it's kind of, it's this conspiracy, right? Napoleon says, like, hey, the hope of a Black empire has to be seconded. J. Edgar Hoover comes along later and says, the one thing that we have to make sure happens is that there's never a Black Messiah to rise up. All right. So that's already a stretch, right? That's not why there was a connection for me. Do you know who the person was? I want you to Google it. Google it. Google it. Google it. Do you know who the person was who started the FBI? Or who started the organization that ultimately became the FBI? Google it. I'll give y'all some time. I'm gonna sit here. Do 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 do. Let's switch to Mario. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. 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 Do-do-doop doop 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 doop. Dun, 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 dun. That means time is running out. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, you see it? You see it? You see it? Somebody looked it up. Somebody looked it up. What? His last name is Bonaparte. And then it's just your next question in Google should be, hey, is this guy related to the other Bonaparte? The one was like an emperor? Whose name starts with an N and sounds like that really tasty ice cream? Is that him? It's yeah, like that's what, like, oh man. Look, man, thank you, Dark Light, man. I appreciate you. Oh man. Reaching for the control. That's hilarious. But so, like, for a while, I was convinced, like, and again, I'm not saying there's not something to it, right? And that's really what this conversation is about. Many of the conspiracy theories that we have, there may be some truth to them, but the place where epistemic humility has to come in is, do I have enough information to draw that conclusion? And while the information is, like, it's very interesting and it's tasty. It's tasty, right? Like, Napoleon wanted to make sure that Black people never rose. And then somehow Napoleon's grandson becomes the founder, or I don't want to say founder, because he was actually, I think he was the attorney general for Theodore Roosevelt. And please don't quote me on that because I could be wrong. But that's why you have technology at your fingertips. But I think he was the attorney general for President Theodore Roosevelt, and it's during that time that he pulled together the organization. It was not called the FBI at the time, but he pulled together the organization that became the FBI, and then it's Napoleon's grandson or great grandson, I think his grandson, it's Napoleon's grandson that basically gives J. Edgar Hoover this position. And then interestingly enough, J. Edgar Hoover pulls like almost word for word, not quite, the same agenda that Napoleon was talking about in his last years after suffering this defeat. And it wasn't just a small task of the FBI. COINTELPRO didn't start in the 60s. J. Edgar Hoover had been going against like Black leaders since day one of his job. One of the first people he went after successfully, which this was before he was killing people, was Marcus Garvey, who was exiled over mail fraud. Scandalized, you know. This is why I don't like the way people. I don't like scandalous people. I don't like scandalous people. But it's juicy. Like it's juicy. It feels good, tastes good, smells good, sounds good. But the truth of the matter is, even if it is true that Napoleon, sent his grandson over here with the mission, and the French and Americans, French in America, French in the United States folks came up with this idea to say, no, we're going to work together to make sure that we keep our foot on the neck of Black people. And of course, at the time, I was a Black nationalist, so this was very attractive to me. It was like, oh, this explains everything, right? And of course, that's what conspiracy theories often hope. That's what we hope to get from conspiracy theories, almost like a theory of everything, an explanation that explains everything that we're currently obsessed with. And this was definitely something that seemed like it was explaining, or at least giving me some type of substance for why Black people were in this situation. And it was like, there it is. Napoleon sends his grandson and then gives J. Edgar Hoover the charge, right? But the problem is, those are literally the facts that I just gave you are the only facts that I have. I don't have any additional facts, partly because shortly after that, I started like, dude, why is this so important to you? Like, it was like, and I left it alone. And so it just came back to my mind today. And I was like, yeah, that's an interesting one, because that's one that I could be like some other content creators with something that juicy. I could make a whole bunch of videos on stuff like that. Man, if I made a videos about a bunch of the shit I believed at one point, but I also realized that's where epistemic humility has to come in. It could be true. It could very well be true that there was a conspiracy between the United States and the fallen French short emperor. I like calling them short. I do. It's also because a part of my heritage is the language I use is West Indian, just because that's the language that other people used for so long. But a part of my lineage comes from Martinique. That's actually where my last name comes from. My family has had this last name for a very, very, very long time. I had to look it up. I had to redo my family tree to find this, because my family was not good at passing down information. But actually, both on that's still both on my mom's side. On my mom's side, both on her mother's side and her father's side, both of our ancestors on those lineages predate the United States as far as being in America, and not in some conspiracy way. My oldest relative that I can trace back on my mom's side, she was from Sierra Leone, and she didn't come with the British. She came with the Spanish and got left behind. So she was here before them. Owned a lot of property. I don't know what the fuck my family did with it, because it's all gone today, unless there's just another side of the family that's hiding it from everybody. I would like to meet them if they are, because I could use some land. But yeah, right. 3 people, not enough for that. But that's exactly. I stopped paying attention to the chat. Let me get back in here. So, yep. Google. Yep. That's it. Isn't that interesting? The conspiracy theory I currently am entertaining is that rich people are currently enticing World War III in order to further subjugate poor people and strip out our rights. You know, that was another conspiracy theory me and my daughter was talking about this morning. Like, what if rich people are really just trying to find a new planet so they can just leave us here? Like I just imagine they're gonna find a planet that's a little bit better than Earth, and then they're gonna go. I mean, they're gonna destroy all the rockets to make sure we can't follow. The FBI story is a decent movie. Like it is 3 hours long, but it actually was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Yeah, a few years ago, that QAnon story about drinking infant blood was crazy, but some evidence came out with some of the Epstein files, and now I'm ready to investigate. Get in there. What was the little girl that they used to have the investigation series? People still use the name Nancy Drew. Get your Nancy Drew on. You know what I'm saying? Because now it isn't just someone saying the internet saying that. Yeah, 3 people is not enough for that. That is true. The requirement for coherence from fictional stories can be used as a diagnostic. If something makes perfect sense with no internal contradiction and ties things in a bow, it is at least, I like that. We are conditioned to believe the FBI was made up of gumshoe detective. There is almost always more to the story. Blaming representative public figures for behaviors of group is a driving factor of conspiracy theories. That is so true. And I think I got one more. I was obsessed with Nancy Drew. Oh my, yeah, man. Was it like there was like, man, it was Nancy Drew, babysitters clubs. Like there was a whole bunch of stuff. Y'all remember when schools used to have book fairs? Like book fairs used to be my favorite time, like of the year. Oh man, let's not be contradiction phobic now. I like that. I like that. But you know, like so that was one conspiracy that I had. And but what I have done with that, again, could be true, maybe not. It would be fascinating to find out if it was true. But I do write fiction, and so in one of my novels, this is part one of this novel has come out, but this story you won't, because like J. Edgar Hoover is a character in one of my novels, but he's like a dead zombie guy. Again, I write fiction, and my fiction zigs and zags, but he's like a dead zombie guy. He's not zombie, but he's just dead because he's old. You know, he's like really old, but he's still living. But you're looking at him like, oh, he's dead. But he's like the first big bad in one of my sequences of stories, and I leaned into that narrative of this possible secret relationship between J. Edgar Hoover and Napoleon, and I think I call it like the Bonahove doctrine. Yeah, yeah. I love fiction. Fiction, you just do stuff like that. So they've been working on the Bonahove doctrine, but then there's also a twist in it, and it's really good. I'm not going to tell you the twist because I don't want nobody stealing my. I'm an artist, and I'm sensitive about my shit. You know what I'm saying? But no, but you know, epistemic humility requires me to be able to say, hey, Darante, that could be true, but you don't have enough information. Like you have 3 dots, and those 3 dots are very compelling. Like, oh man, again, tasty, very compelling, but it's just not enough to establish coherence. It's not enough to lean into this as a matter of fact. I have some facts that can be aligned. It is a fact that Napoleon, said these things. It is a fact that J. Edgar Hoover said these things. It's a fact that they both felt the same way. And then just throwing the fact that J. Edgar Hoover's grandson, that Napoleon's grandson is the predecessor of J. Edgar Hoover, and then that as soon as J. Edgar Hoover gets in, he immediately starts going against Black people. And if you've never done like real research on Marcus Garvey, I don't care what your conclusion of him, I'd suggest you do it. I think everything I do will confuse you until you understand Marcus Garvey. But it was like, isn't that a spicy like a spicy bit of tea? But as much as I was bought into it before, I'm not necessarily unconvinced. I'm just not convinced anymore. And that's where I live now. That's the freedom that I have now, is that I don't have to attach myself to any idea. I don't have to attach myself to any belief. I don't have to attach myself to anything as a known fact unless I actually have the information to do so. And I live in that world. And I was like, no, if I don't have enough information, I'm not going to force myself to jump to that conclusion, um, which allows me to stay curious instead of becoming certain. And that's actually a more liberating place for me, right? Because even if I do find out, like, yep, dude, you were right, ain't too much I'm gonna be able to do about it right now anyway. And so it's really just that feeling, going back to something that Big Tuck said earlier, it's really just that feeling of having some bit of insider knowledge, and it's kind of breeding that sense of superiority. I figured out something that nobody else could have figured out. And it's like, but yeah, what you gonna do with it though? Oh, well, damn. I guess nothing. It's like being it's like being a 3-year-old with keys to a Ferrari. It's shiny. You can't do nothing with it, And then by the time you get old enough to do something with it, it'll be worth a lot more money, I guess. I don't know. I think Ferraris kind of do that. But no, that's fun. All right, let me see. Let me make sure I haven't missed anything. Have I missed it? Dang, y'all be going, man. All right. What we need is Chris Hansen investigating the Trump admin. I'd like to see that. Rich people might have a hand in accelerating disorder, but we are more than capable of antagonizing each other on our own. Man, those are bars. Those are bars. Like that's I see that every day, and that's really, I don't know if y'all notice, like I do try to center my work on how we can be better towards each other. Are there some big bads out there? Maybe. Are there people out there trying to do things? Maybe. But like, I like to focus on the things that we can control and the things that we can do. And that's why I like this. No, yeah, rich people might have a hand in accelerating disorder, but we are more than capable of antagonizing each other on our own. That's actually one of the first songs I taught my oldest son after my youngest son was born. I taught him the word antagonize because, like, his baby brother would, be antagonizing a lot. So we taught him this little song. Please don't antagonize me. Please don't antagonize me. Please don't antagonize me. Just leave me alone. Mm-mm. I'm gonna cry just thinking about it because I'm imagining them young again, and none of them are young anymore. But like, no, like there's so much harm we cause, and again, that's one of the reasons why I have chosen to separate myself from other people who identify with the same label I do, because we may share the same label, but I am absolutely not for creating more harm. Like my company, DLDD World Group, not even just not the community Bridge City, but my company, DLDD World Group, that's like our mission statement: decrease harm, increase well-being. And so anytime I see that people are willing to, speak harm on other people or like cause harm on other people, I'm like, hey, that's you, but it's not me. I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not trying to make things worse just so I can feel better about myself. I don't find that to be a staple of health. Why don't you have why don't you have seat, Donald? That seems funny. I'm catching up. I read Encyclopedia Brown, but I know my limits as a researcher. I'd support tax funds going to police to investigate, though. Yeah. You see, it's barely a conspiracy theory that Trump is starting wars to distract from the files. It's just true. Like, not verified because he would never admit it, but everyone thinks it. That's funny. This is interesting. Look, if I don't give y'all something interesting to think about, I don't know what I'm here for. I got to give y'all something, in order to explore an idea, you have to be able to entertain. Ooh, damn, that's good. Damn, that's good. Right, where y'all coming up with all these bars today? No, in order to explore an idea, you need to be able to entertain it without believing it. I kind of like, I want to read that in Neil deGrasse Tyson's voice. Let me see. In order, I can't do it. I tried. I can't try. Let me try. Let me try Mufasa's. I can't do voices today. Damn it. In order to explore an idea, you need to be able to entertain it without believing it. That was close. That was close. That was close. All right. I love that. Thank you, Kronos. For sure. Thanks for sharing this info. Yo, you're absolutely welcome. You're absolutely welcome. Um, and hopefully it gives you all something to think about. And again, the goal is not to convince you that there is some great conspiracy against Black folk in America, but hello. but no, the goal more so is for us to all look at those places. There are things that we may be biased to believe. There may be things that we really want to believe. And I'm not telling anybody necessarily what to do, but I do want to be honest about myself and do my best to model what I think epistemic humility should look like. Because we do it so well when we deconstruct with religion. But I'd encourage us to also make sure we're doing it in all areas of our lives. Religion is not the only area that we're prone to believe things that are not true. And watch this, it's not just about believing things that are not true. It's also about believing things that we just don't have enough evidence to jump to, which means it could be true. And again, that's my thing with conspiracy theories. It's not that it's not true. That's not where my concern is. My concern is, do I have enough evidence? Do I have enough reason to get to that conclusion? That conclusion may be 100% accurate, but I need to earn my certainty. I cannot borrow my certainty from the gaps of misinformation. I cannot earn my certainty from the gaps of things I do not know. And in this society, we're becoming increasingly more pressed to borrow certainty. And I'd like to encourage everybody, to take a chill pill every now and then, to ask yourself, like, why am I in a rush to get to this conclusion if I do not have the evidence to get me there? And if I'm really invested in this idea, then I should be invested in getting the evidence that actually gets me there. And ultimately, that's what I realized. Like, as juicy as the idea was, I wasn't interested enough to actually continue to follow that trail. Either that or there was just no other information. Whatever way, I ended up dropping it, All right, so I'm done. Thank you all so much. Let me catch up. Subliminals leaves rooms for theory. I personally believe Jesus could have been Mary Magdalene, handled, he could have been a pimp. I make no apologies for it. Actually, okay, see, now you done brought me back in for just a moment, because I do have, I include a lot of biblical stories in some of my fiction. In one of those biblical stories, Jesus is a vampire. There's 4 classes of vampires in my. I have this universe called the Memphis universe. There's 4 classes of vampires. One class of the vampires are like wolves, so they're werewolves. But there's another class. But there's another class that are like what we think of vampires today. But I just thought, Jesus is constantly asking people to drink his blood to get life. And I'm like, that would be so vampire-ish. And the most vampire things is you suck, the vampire sucks your blood. And I'm like, but that don't make no sense. No, you sucking the vampire's blood to become a vampire. So that's how the vampires work in my world. But in another one, I have a story where Mary Magdalene is the real person behind the Jesus story. And interesting to what you said, she's actually a pimp. She starts as, a prostitute, but she ends up becoming a pimp and running this harem of women who are secretly controlling everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because they going in and out. She's like a female Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. They her whisperers and stuff like that, and getting all the information for it. And so she's orchestrating everything. So, but that's my wild ride. I love. Ooh, speaking of wild ride, if you've ever there's a song by John Legend. I think I'm gonna play it as soon as I get off of here today. Called Wild Ride. It is dope. I wanna love it. Is it called Wild Ride, or maybe just called Wild? Just my understanding of the story. I like it. I have found that people change their mind when they are either make a story that fits better, with their experience than what they believe before, or see something that challenges their belief. I can definitely see that. Sorry that I screwed up that sentence. Stay beautiful, motherfuckers. Absolutely. Thank you, Dane, for always being a support. Pimps don't commit suicide. I like that line. It feels like that should have been from the Boondocks. It feels like that. I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the damn. I forgot it just that quick. Interesting. Interessante. The the Madame Magdalene. Like that's dope. Like that. It has a ring to it, right? It's so comforting not to be judged for my opinion. Refreshing, right? That's what I'm talking about, man. Let's build a better world. If you haven't watched the old series called Black Jesus, oh, I used to love Black Jesus because that's right when I started smoking weed. I started smoking weed and started watching Black Jesus around the same time. Lucky me, right? Yeah, yeah, I know. You're welcome. You're welcome. Now let me stop. No, Black Jesus was awesome. You are missing comedy gold with a lot of weed smoking. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for that super chat. It's from the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with The Rock. You know, I didn't go back. I don't think I ever watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Is that the one with Brad Pitt in too? Message me and let me know. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I gotta go. I'm gonna end the stream. I'll give y'all some party music as we're rolling out of here. Thank y'all so much for supporting me. Thank you for supporting this channel. You have no idea how much it means to me and how much it does for the community we're building at Bridge City. And if you're not connected with us on the Bridge City campus, and it is a campus, like you can come on there and hang out with people and meet people and build relationships and do stuff and maybe even join the team because our team is really cool, you know? Our team is really cool. It's dope. It's dope. You are all welcome. Passes the joint. I love that. Y'all gonna keep me here, man. Conspiracies are simply what happens when there are disparities between what you think and what you see. That's why bigotry is self-reinforcing behavior. Damn, that's good. Y'all are on one today. All right, y'all. Until next time, keep rising.
Don't sit around, please don't settle now. We can do better now. We can get up. Please don't sit around, please don't settle now. We can do better now.